northern Indiana, the South Bend-Elkhart region, where tradition and history is meeting its destiny. What's driving growth, how the arts and music are making noise, and how manufacturing, the region's bread and butter, is still moving the needle. It's all next on Inside Indiana Business.
From Indiana's business news leader, this is IBJ Media's Inside Indiana Business with Gary Dick, presented by Elevate Ventures, Indiana University, and Liuna.
Hello and welcome to Inside Indiana Business. I'm Mary Rachel Redmond in for Gary Dick. Well, we come to you this week from our Engage Indiana series in the South Bend-Elkhart region. The region undoubtedly facing its fair share of challenges, but for the first time in a long time, the opportunities far outweigh the headwinds. Like much of Indiana, it's manufacturing that continues to drive the three-county area, in particular the RV industry. Elkhart is the RV capital of the world, and 2023 was a tough year with RV demand in decline. But the industry is rebounding.
RV sales are up almost 4% since last year.
So too is housing. Like many areas of the state, housing is a challenge here, but there are many signs of a region on the move. Quality of life projects, fueled in part by the state's Ready Grant program, are boosting the region's quality of life. Notre Dame continuing to impact the region, most recently with its purchase of the former South Bend Tribune building, which is being repurposed into a tech and innovation hub. And of course, nearby in New Carlisle, Amazon's $11 billion data center and a massive General Motors Samsung SDI EV plant stand to transform the area economy. Somebody that knows a lot about what's happening here in the region, CEO and president of South Bend-Elkhart Regional Partnership, Bethany Hartley. Bethany, let's start out with the big-time investment in New Carlisle.
It's the largest single investment in the state of Indiana's history at $11 billion. AWS is coming in and building their data centers here and focusing on AI and machine learning. It is a transformative project for this region. It not only will touch the west side of St. Joe County, it'll touch our five-county region significantly when it comes to housing, workforce opportunities, educational opportunities.
And you've also got a $3.5 billion plant going in there, a Samsung SDI, an EV battery plant. Talk about that.
Both of those investments are happening in an area called the Indiana Enterprise Center that the economic development leaders in St. Joseph County have been working on for over a decade. And seeing these projects come to life is a true testament to if you build it, they will come. And we've been working not only on that center and that geographic area, we have the greatest amenities as it relates to companies, what they're prioritizing. We have a lot of power, we have a lot of water, and we have a lot of really great people here. That'll bring another 1,600 jobs to the region. It's just a really great momentum that we're riding right now and built on the backs of people that have been working on this for decades.
What are some of the challenges that this poses? You know, you talk about housing, childcare.
Yeah, and we're standing where you can see some housing projects that are underway already in downtown South Bend. Those are just an example of the hundreds of units that are being developed across the five counties. We're actually on the back end of doing a regional housing study that'll tell us exactly what is our gap over the next 10 years. I can tell you it's significant in the tens of thousands is what we're forecasting as a gap right now. That also, as you mentioned, coincides with childcare. Right now, our region serves about 36% of the need for childcare, especially in 0 to 5-year-olds. It's very challenging. But we also need to focus on the education of childcare providers and the expertise that they bring and their wages and salaries. All those things go hand in hand.
You know, and making it affordable.
That's right.
As well.
We talk about workforce participation. We have about a 64% workforce participation number in this region. A big piece of that is access to affordable childcare. If it costs less for one of the parents to stay home with the children than to put them into quality, safe childcare, they're going to opt to do that. And we have a great cost of living here that is a real possibility. And then we're also missing out on a workforce of really talented, educated individuals that have to make that tough decision.
15, 20 years from now, where do you see the region?
The skyline's going to look much different than it does today because we're going to have new buildings up, we're going to have new housing up, and that 15 years ago, the skyline already looks different. Some of the buildings that have been here were offline for 20, 30 years, and now they're coming back to life. I see our region as a very connected, very smart communities. I see us as we're going to have more trails than we ever thought we could need because our quality of place is going to be so high. People are going to feel so invested and proud to live here. How do we make people proud to be from here, live here? What are the amenities that they can say, yeah, I went to Howard Park today, or yes, I walked along the Riverfront Trail in Mishawaka. None of that existed before, and now it does. And that, to me, is what doesn't exist today that'll exist in 10 years. That's so exciting.
Again,
Yes.
it's palpable.
Yes.
Bethany Hartley, CEO and President of South Bend-Elkhart Regional Partnership. Thank you.
He always looks forward to his midnight treat. Some music, some breweries.
One of the areas in the target zone for redevelopment in South Bend, well, let's just say, has a flavorful past.
Take a taste of that beer and see if we're not right. Breweries, no full feeling, yet smooth, full flavor you like. With breweries, that's
South Bend city leaders looking to spend part of their $250 million share of state-ready grant money to redevelop the old Drury's brewery site. Plans call for a 150-unit affordable housing project. The possibilities of new life at the old Drury's brewery, one of many signs of growth in the region. When we come back, we check on billions of dollars in investments coming to the tiny town of New Carlisle. Well, South Bend in this region is synonymous with the University of Notre Dame. The University of Notre Dame has the oldest continuously existing college band in the nation. When Notre Dame played football for the first time against Michigan in 1887, the Notre Dame marching band was already celebrating its 41st birthday. South Bend synonymous with Notre Dame, but the two not always walking to the same beat. That's changing, though, thanks in large part to the university's renewed commitment to connect with the community. Development of Eddy Street Commons, a prime example of campus life flowing into the heart of South Bend. And Notre Dame's plan to spend $30 million from the Lilly Endowment to create a tech hub at the old South Bend Tribune building, about 2 miles off campus. I caught up with South Bend Mayor James Mueller to get his thoughts on Notre Dame doubling down on its contribution to economic development in the city of South Bend.
The university and the city have had a proud history, and for much of that history, it's been completely separate. So over the past few decades, every decade, this partnership has grown stronger and stronger, and they're now, here they are, ready to take this next step, and it's really going to be transformational for not just South Bend, but our entire region.
And just 15 miles west of South Bend, the tiny town of New Carlisle.
Behind me, construction underway on the largest economic development project in state history. Amazon Web Services' $11 billion data center campus here in New Carlisle. It's the first project in the Indiana Enterprise Center, expected to create 1,000 new jobs for the region. But who's going to fill those jobs? Here to give us a little perspective on the situation here in St. Joseph County, our regional reporter, Eniola. Talk to us a little bit about how they're going to fill 1,000 jobs here at this data center.
Well, Mayor Rachel, I think the biggest thing is the partnership that Amazon has cut with Ivy Tech. And so they're going to be doing a lot of upskilling for people and, specifically encouraging undergrads to pursue jobs that the data center will be needed. Some of Amazon's employees have also moved down here, a few, to begin the training for the people who will be joining. But I think there's a lot of people, employees, talent from around the region that are going to be coming to fill these jobs.
You mentioned the excitement. Just kind of put into perspective for folks that may not know how big of a deal this really is for this region.
It's the biggest chunk of the $38 billion that has been invested for 2024, and that's something that you would normally not see in Indiana, and that speaks to the leadership, that speaks to Amazon, that speaks to the partnership that companies are experiencing here in Indiana.
Eniola, our boots on the ground, if you will, here in St. Joseph County. Thank you for your perspective.
You're welcome.
Here's what's making news around Indiana. Brought to you by the Indiana Association of Realtors. Indiana's 21,000 realtors. The neighbors you know, the experts you can count on.
We begin in Tippecanoe County, where two companies are partnering to create a $400 million plant to produce clean energy byproducts for soda bottles, food containers, clothes, and even shoes. Brazil-based Sustania is working with Premium Lafayette to build Sustania's first bio-MEG facility. Bio-MEG is a plant-based alternative to conventional petroleum-based MEG. Moving east now to Fort Wayne, where the city's latest downtown gym, The Pearl, has opened, a $50 million 7-story mixed-use development that includes apartments, restaurants, a parking garage, and rooftop lounge areas. Two big developments out of Gary, Indiana this week, both involving moving people and products from point A to point B. City leaders planning to rebuild the 40-year-old Metro Center's South Shoreline Station in downtown Gary. And touchdown at Gary's Chicago International Airport. The airport this week breaking ground on $6 million in cargo infrastructure improvements. The airport ranks third in the state for movement of freight. Made in Indiana, high-tech construction getting a boost. Bloomington-based Terran Robotics closing on a pre-seed round of money to help push its technology into the market. Terran's developed a platform that uses AI-powered robots to build Adobe-style homes with materials designed to be more energy efficient and affordable. Looking to book a cruise? Well, you may want to check this out first. It's called Cruise Alley, and it's a travel tech startup out of Bloomington that's designed an online platform to give personalized, data-driven recommendations based on a user's vacation needs instead of just price and location. And finally, big changes coming for next year's gala honoring the best of all things tech in Indiana. The 2025 TechPoint Mira Awards are set to take place at the Palladium in Carmel in late February rather than April. And there's a new submission process to make things easier for nominees and judges.
All it is now is just a couple of information gathering questions and then one main question, which is why should this person or organization win that award?
Up next, how a racing family turned their loss into hope and life for others.
We've now been able to sign up over 8,000 race fans to save lives.
More on a new film highlighting the story of race car driver Brian Clausen, driven to save lives.
Bloomington, Indiana is the home of the Hoosiers and an excellent place to host your meeting or event. Our welcoming college town atmosphere, along with an acclaimed culinary scene and fun nightlife, make Bloomington an ideal group destination. More information at visitbloomington.com.
Once he took the lead, then that's when he was involved in the accident.
A tragic crash and a tiny little heart on an Indiana driver's license. It has sent the Clausen racing family on a mission to save lives. And it's one of many stories hitting the big screen at this year's Heartland Film Festival. Health reporter Kylie Valletta in the studio with the story. Kylie?
Thanks, Mary Rachel. A film inspired by late IndyCar driver Brian Clausen tells his powerful story of organ donation, meant to inspire audiences beyond race fans. Clausen's sister, who works at Indiana Donor Network, helped create the nonprofit's campaign, Driven to Save Lives. And this weekend, its mission is on the big screen.
He was 3 or 4 days old when he went to his first race.
Brian Clausen will lead lap number 1.
A new film, now debuting at the Heartland International Film Fest, tells Clausen's story. The Indy 500 driver tragically lost his life after an accident in a midget race in 2016. His legacy includes saving 5 lives through organ donation.
We found his license, and it had the heart on it.
A tiny little heart on a driver's license changed our entire story.
Clausen's death inspired Driven to Save Lives, Indiana Donor Network's program to raise awareness about organ and tissue donation.
We've now been able to sign up over 8,000 race fans to save lives.
Clausen's sister helps lead Driven to Save Lives.
When we left the hospital and said our final goodbyes to Brian, the last thing I said to him was that I wanted to make him proud. And I live every day trying to do that.
It was her idea to make the film to show the people behind organ donation.
I've heard, stories of loss, stories of grief, stories of hope and healing, stories of new life. And I felt like we were at a place where we had, been in this community for so long that those stories deserve to be told.
And that's why the film tells not just Clausen's story, but the stories of 3 other Indiana families getting a second chance at life because of someone else's loss.
We like to talk about Cade quite a bit, so, we don't want to forget him.
Using the silver screen to spark conversations about organ donation.
We didn't talk about donation in our family. We had no idea that Brian had signed up to be an organ donor. I just want people to understand that these are conversations that need to be had, and that good things can come from tragedy, and hope and healing can come from the worst of circumstances.
And another creative project is underway for the Indiana Donor Network. A new memorial is being built at the nonprofit's Indianapolis headquarters to honor Hoosier organ and tissue donors. The centerpiece is a 4-story tree of life with 83 hanging lanterns, the number of lives that can be saved and healed by a single donor. An Indianapolis artist is designing and building the memorial, which is expected to be finished in December. And shovels are in the ground at Rose-Hulman. The university has launched a $100 million project to build the Innovation Grove District. The school says the district will be a hub for entrepreneurship and healthcare, where students can get real-world experience. The district includes an outpatient surgery center, which is a collaboration among Rose-Hulman, Union Health, and the Indiana Joint Replacement Institute.
What it does is provide some direct access to our undergraduate students, especially those in biomedical engineering, to a process, an industry that is really growing within healthcare, and that's joint replacement. That industry is exploding across the country.
The Innovation Grove District will also house Rose-Hulman Ventures. Now to get you caught up on education news making headlines around Indiana with Mary Rachel back in northern Indiana.
Time now for our Eye on Education, brought to you by PNC Bank.
Several education stories to get you caught up on around Indiana, including a change of leadership in Purdue University's Board of Trustees. Longtime board chair Michael Berghoff is stepping down at the end of the year. Berghoff has served as a Purdue trustee for more than 15 years, the last 9 as chair. Current board vice chair Gary Lehman will succeed Berghoff. Students at Manchester now have a new space to work with preschool and elementary students. The Literacy Lab will focus on helping kids who are not reading well build their skills. Manchester students will design and implement lessons with the guidance of a faculty member.
We can tailor sessions to meet different grade levels of like our community students, give them an opportunity to come on campus and receive one-on-one or very small group instruction, specifically in reading.
Schilling says the space will also help bridge the divide between the campus and the community. The project was funded by a $500,000 Lilly Endowment grant. Well, coming up, we check in on what's going on in Elkhart, Indiana, a city gaining traction through new jobs, downtown revitalization, and quality of life projects. Mayor Rod Robertson breaks down what it all means for the future of Elkhart when we come back. Elkhart, Indiana, known as the RV capital of the world, where hitting the road for adventure is still driving the economy here in northern Indiana after nearly a century. But what you may not know, Elkhart is also recognized as the band instrument capital of the world. Home of world-renowned manufacturer Consomer.
If you're ever in the vicinity of Elkhart, Indiana, you should pay a visit to the Con Factory, the largest in the world.
And the city gaining a new vibe and attracting new people through its musical past, like its renovation of the historic Lerner Theater.
Since we reopened the Lerner as a musical attraction theater, our population growth actually reversed. We were down 2% from 2000 to 2010. We're up 4% from 2010 to 2020. And so we know quality of place and quality of life brings a sense of relationship to our community, and it has been established with our population growth.
Elkhart Mayor Rod Robertson tells me the city's $17 million makeover of the now 100-year-old Lerner Theater back in 2010 has really been the catalyst to spark a slew of new transformational placemaking projects taking shape in the city.
Mayors like myself and others, we think about quality of place, quality of life in a very different way. We've typically talked about how we bring big companies to the city in order to make sure that employment and the base was here, and companies were here to obviously solidify your tax base. But nowadays, companies really follow the places that are great places for quality of place, quality of life. They follow what we're doing right now with respect to our downtown plan, our downtown master plan, and what we've done to kind of coalesce our investments around quality of place and quality of life.
Other projects in the pipeline include a new 6,000-seat outdoor amphitheater.
Elkhart, how you feeling?
Embracing the city's deep roots in music.
An amphitheater is absolutely the opportunity to grow our ability to bring in A-level talent for the entire Elkhart County area and the Michiana area, and to be able to make sure that people have those experiential experiences that work well inside of our city.
At one point in time, and people might be surprised to know this, Elkhart per capita was one of the wealthiest cities in the country.
Absolutely.
How do you get back there?
Well, this is exactly how we get back there. We quit chasing the holy grail of trying to find the 10,000 employee or staffing company to move here, and we build it from inside out. We were number one in band instruments. We were number one in RV manufacturing. We had the largest pharmaceutical company in the world back in 1977. So Elkhart is really starting to punch above its weight in quality of place, where we've always punched above our weight in manufacturing. We are now being able to sync those two and bring a sense of livability to Elkhart that it hasn't enjoyed before.
If you build it, they will come.
If you build it, they will come. If you have a vision, money will follow. If you build it, they will come.
We've enjoyed our time here in northern Indiana this week, but we leave you with a look at the western part of the state where the Park County Covered Bridge Festival is in full swing. Have a great week.
Thank you for listening to the Inside Indiana Business Television podcast. Remember, you can get the latest business news from every corner of the state at InsideIndianaBusiness.com. I'm Gary Dick. Go out and make it a successful week.